The laptop dies, or the drive corrupts, or an update wipes a profile, or you just want to move an identity onto a new machine. And in that one moment, you find out whether an account was ever really yours, or whether it only lived on one fragile computer that just stopped working. Because an identity is not a password. It is a whole environment. Cookies, sessions, a fingerprint, a lived-in history. And if all of that sat in one place, and that place is gone, the account is gone with it. Or worse, you drag it back to life in a way that gets it flagged. Today is backing up a browser profile and how to save and move an identity's whole home without linking it and without losing it. Why I treat the profile as the account. I run proxy and cloud phone farms and manage large fleets of separate identities. And the accounts I have lost to a dead machine. I lost because I thought the login was the account. It isn't. The login is the smallest part of it. The account is the environment it lives inside. The cookies that keep it signed in, the tokens that tell the platform this device is already trusted, the fingerprint it learned to expect from you. Lose that environment, and you don't simply log in again. You arrive as a stranger to a place that used to know you. What the browser profile actually holds. Your profile is far more than a folder of saved passwords. It holds the cookies and session tokens that keep you logged in without a fresh challenge, the local storage a site uses to remember who you are. The fingerprint your antidetect browser pins for this one identity, their history and preferences that make the account look lived in rather than born yesterday. All of that together is what the platform reads as you. The password is only the key to the door. The profile is the whole house behind it. Why losing it is worse than a plain lockout. When a profile vanishes and you sign back in code on a new machine, you do not return as the trusted device the account knew. You show up with fresh cookies, a fresh session, often a fresh fingerprint, from a setup the platform has never seen before. That cold return looks exactly like a takeover, the same suspicious shape a stolen account throws when someone else walks in. So losing the profile can cost you the account even though you still remember the password perfectly, because the thing that vanished was the trust, not the credentials. The backup is really a portability plan. So backing up a profile is not about holding files somewhere. It is about being able to reproduce an identity's entire home on other hardware and have the platform still recognize it as the same account. The goal is simple to say, a dead laptop should be an inconvenience and not a funeral. You want to lift the environment, cookies and storage and fingerprint and all, and set it back down on a new machine so the account resumes as the trusted device it always was, instead of a stranger who happens to know the password. Save the whole environment, not just the password. The common mistake is saving the logins and nothing else. Logins on their own force a fresh sign-in, which is the exact cold return you were trying to avoid in the first place. What you actually want to preserve is the session, the cookies and tokens that let the account wake up without announcing itself again. An antidetect browser usually lets you export a profile as one package that carries all of it. And a plain browser hides the same thing inside a profile directory you can copy. Either way, the session is the part worth saving, because it is the part that keeps the return quiet. Keep the address stable across the move. A profile does not travel alone. The environment also includes the address the account signs in from. And if you restore a perfect profile, but bring it back on a different IP, in a different city, on a different network, you have thrown away half the point. The home is the profile and the address together, so you restore both. This is the whole reason I keep each identity on its own sticky mobile or residential IP, because the address survives a hardware change, and the restored profile that still comes from the same home barely registers as a move at all. The fingerprint has to move with it too. The third leg of this is the fingerprint. If the profile you restore expects one set of hardware signals, and the new machine happily broadcasts another, that contradiction is a flag on its own. This is exactly why identities that live inside an antidetect browser or a cloud phone travel so much better than ones tied to raw hardware. The fingerprint is part of the saved profile, not a property of the laptop, so it moves with the account instead of changing underneath it the moment the old machine dies. That can form. The cleanest version of this problem is the one you never have, and that is what a cloud phone gives you. When the identity lives on a real device held server-side, there is nothing on your laptop to lose in the first place. The app sessions, the device fingerprint, the number, all of it stays put on the phone whether your machine lives or dies. Your dead drive never touches it. For the identities I most need to survive a hardware failure, I do not back up a profile at all. I simply keep them somewhere the profile cannot be lost. Fourth, Backup on a calm day, not after the crash. The reason people lose accounts to a dead machine is that they only think about the backup after it is already gone, and by then there is nothing left to save. The profile backup works exactly like the recovery kit I keep going on about. It only helps if you built it before the emergency, not during it. So export each identity's environment on a quiet day, on a schedule you actually keep, so that when a drive finally fails you restore from last week instead of rebuilding a whole account from a password and a prayer. Treat the backups like live keys, because they are a folder full of exported profiles is a folder full of live signed-in sessions. Anyone who copies it can walk straight into every account inside without ever touching a password, because the cookies in there are already logged in. So treat those backups as what they honestly are, keys to your entire fleet. Encrypt them, keep them off any machine that faces the internet carelessly, and do not quietly sync the raw profiles to some cloud drive that a breach or a board support agent could open. The backup that saves you must never become the single theft that empties you. A restore is a move, not a copy. Here is a subtle trap that a good backup makes easy to fall into. Once you can restore a profile, you can just as easily run the same identity on two machines at once, and that is its own kind of suicide. One account signed in from two devices, two addresses, two places in the same hour is a textbook link and a textbook compromise signal at the same time. A restore is a move, not a copy. When you bring a profile back on new hardware, retire the old copy and do not run both, because a cloned live session is precisely what a hijacked account looks like from the other side. Keep one profile to one identity. The entire point of separate profiles is isolation, and a sloppy backup can quietly undo it. Do not let one restored profile carry cookies that belong to another identity. Do not merge two account storage just because it was convenient to export them together. And do not reuse a single profile skeleton with the shared fields still baked into it. Each identity gets its own environment, saved on its own, so that a restore brings back one clean account and not a tangle of accounts secretly wired to each other. Document what each backup actually is. A backup you cannot identify is a backup you will not trust on the day you need it. When you export a profile, write down plainly which identity it is, its address, its number, its fingerprint, and the date you saved it. Then a restore is a calm lookup instead of a guess, and you never drop the wrong environment onto the wrong account, which is its own quiet linking accident. The boring little record you keep on a good day is the thing that makes the backup genuinely usable on the day everything is on fire. Test the restore before you ever trust it. A backup you have never restored is a hope, not a plan. Every so often, restore a profile onto a clean machine and confirm the account really does resume quietly, still signed in, still coming from its own address, without throwing a fresh challenge at you. The moment to discover that your export was missing the session is not the afternoon your only copy died. I trust a backup I have watched work with my own eyes, not one that merely sits in a folder promising it will be there. The line I will not cross with you. Everything here is about not losing accounts that are honestly yours to run, and not making them look stolen when you move them between machines. I am not going to help you clone a live session you do not own, lift somebody else's logged-in profile, or copy an account away from the person it actually belongs to, because that is account theft. It is fraud, and it wrecks a real person on the other end. Saving your own identity's home is housekeeping. Copying someone else's home is a crime, and I am not going to pretend those two things are the same. The honest limit, and keep all of it in proportion, because a good backup does exactly one thing: it makes a dead machine survivable. It does not make an account immortal. A restore can still trip a challenge if too much changed at once. A platform can invalidate every session on its side whenever it decides to. And no export on earth undoes whatever behavior got an account flagged in the first place. Anyone selling you a profile backup that guarantees an account survives anything is selling you a story, because the session is only valid for as long as the platform chooses to honor it. Encrypted and labeled, and never run in two places at once. And for the accounts I most need to survive a crash, I keep them on cloud phones where there is nothing on my laptop to lose in the first place. I run Singapore mobile proxy and cloud phone farms myself, so the address a restored profile comes back on is the same clean carrier home it always had, and the identities I cannot afford to lose live on real devices held server-side, not on a drive that can die on a bad morning. The full written guides and tested pics are at multiaccountops.com, including how I export a profile, what a backup has to carry to keep a return quiet, and honest write-ups of the proxies and cloud phones I actually run, with no affiliate guesswork. If your accounts only exist on one laptop right now, this is the habit to build before that laptop decides the fate of your fleet for you. Subscribe for more honest tested multi-account tops. Next time, why your fleet drowns in captchas, and what a captcha is really measuring about your address, your fingerprint, and your pace long before you ever click a single square.